Got a red light. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Israel Buffardi. I use he, him for pronouns. I'm the minister of this congregation. There we go. We had a little bit of a stretch of nice weather in between some not so nice weather recently, as you probably all noticed. So I went to the beach this past week. I went to Crab Meadow Beach with my kids. It was the first warm day it felt like we had in a while, and I just needed to be out in the hazy sun. And the sun still had that, late March, early April angle to it, but it was warm enough to burn my cheeks a little bit. And I knew that spring was kind of about to pop, but it just feels like it keeps stalling itself. There's this jetty at that beach that kind of sticks out, and some caution signs not to go on the rocks, if you're familiar with it or not. And my daughter, the adventurer, when we went there, went straight for the rocks without even paying attention to the sign. And there is a sign. She saw it, but she went for the jetty anyway. And so I negotiated. Do we need to turn this one off? Is that why? Is that why it's happening? Do we need to use this one instead? So we're on the beach, and she will not stay off the rocks, even though it's dangerous. And so I negotiated her down just to the tidal pools that were below at the base, where we could watch the swirling water and life that's happening right there below at the rocks. Little creature's life doing its thing. But the thing is, she got bored really quickly, the way that 6-year-olds get bored, which is immediately. And she pointed across the tidal inlet. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about there, but a tidal inlet, 40 feet of water, and she just said casually, "Can we walk to the other side now?" And I'm sure the water was freezing cold, and there's a pretty strong current there. It's easily 40 feet across. And she swore that she could see the bottom. There was a caution sign. She had read the caution sign, but she wanted to cross anyway. She was pushing me. She was telling me to go. And I said, no. The current's too strong. The water is still freezing. She was not pleased with my answer. And honestly, in this moment in time, I know exactly the impatience that she felt in that moment, wanting to get across to the other side. I kept thinking about that look on her face afterwards, that absolute certainty that she had that we could get across, that the other side was even possible, and that it's worth going to, despite the signs, despite the cold current running, despite not even knowing exactly what is over there, or if it's a place that will be welcome. And the thing is that I could see it too myself, the other side. I could just also see the current that stood in between, that gap between where we want to be, what we see. What we see as possible, that's where we are sitting with this morning. The gap and the thing that calls us across despite the current. So let's come into community now. Say good morning to each other. Find someone to give a nod to. The reason we remind ourselves of who we're here with is because we're going to need each other to make it across that channel. That's what we're doing here this morning. Let's let the music take us in. It's supposed to be on.
Is this thing on? No. How do we turn it on? Is this on now? Oh. Good morning. I'm Lisa Burby, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm your worship associate this morning, and I'm also president of the Board of Trustees. Easter Sunday and Passover week are complicated days to walk into a Unitarian Universalist congregation. We know that. Most of us have our own history with these stories, and it isn't always simple. Why is this happening? I think I might have done something wrong. Okay. Anyway, you're welcome here with all of that. The questions, the skepticism, the longing, whatever you brought in. This morning, everyone stays together, all ages, the whole service. There's something we'll be making together. So hold on to what's in your hand when you find it. Sit or stand during hymns, step out if you need to. The welcome table in the social hall after the service is a good place to start if you're new. We have some announcements this morning. The social hall will be hopping this Easter day. Bidding for the Fellowship's 2026 auction gala opens today at noon. Our online catalog features over 150 creative offerings, including many new donations for theater trips, parties, and museums, alongside your long-established favorites. To begin bidding, Do you think I should get closer? Oh, okay. This is a little bit complicated. Okay, we'll just manage. We will just do what we can do. What's that?
Do you need to just go to the pulpit? That's fine.
Here, let me just do this, and who knows what's going to happen next. To begin bidding, you just visit the auction link at the Fellowship's homepage or download the Octria app. If you need assistance navigating the bidding process, the auction committee members will be available in the social hall today. Raise your hands. And while you're there, you can say happy birthday to Jen Edwards. Also in the social hall today and next Saturday is our annual plant sale. You can order gorgeous plants and vegetables and herbs for your garden. There's also an order form on our website. See Debbie Cohen or Cindy Niebuhr. Are you, Cindy? I think I saw you. Yes? Just look for her. And on Friday, April 10th at 7:30, we have our opera night, which is run by our own Isabella Johnson. I feel a little bit like Vanna White right now. Sorry. It will take place in this room. Opera Night Long Island is a nonprofit organization providing the island's only live opera series. Doors open at 7 and the program begins at 7:30. There's a $15 donation at the door, but talk to Isabella if you want to know more. And these and other announcements are in our weekly e-newsletter, which is emailed every week. And if you don't yet get it, just sign up at our fellowship website, UUFH.org. And I also, just if it's okay, want to mention that it's also Israel's birthday.
That's okay. Thank you.
Oh, and you wanted to make an announcement about this evening.
I will say something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So now it's the time for our chalice lighting. And I wanted to be honest with you about this candle, which we call a chalice. It will not stop the war in Iran. It will not bring back the people pulled from their homes and their cars in Long Island this week, or protect the babies whose birthright citizenship is being argued over in the Supreme Court right now. It will not slow down what is happening. It will not slow down what is happening in this country. And we light it anyway. Because that is what the people in this morning's stories did. They didn't wait for the siege part. They didn't wait for conditions to improve. They lit what they had, and they moved toward the other side. This is ours. It is a small thing. It is also a declaration that that we are still here, still together, still crossing.
Let's take a breath together, shall we? Let's take a moment for everything that life brings, all the unexpected things. And we are still here. On Friday, we had a Seder. We had a Seder here, Friday evening. We celebrated Passover together, those of us who came. Passover begins at a table. That's how it's marked. Begins at a table, with the bread still flat because there wasn't enough time to wait for dough to rise. You've heard these things before. Bitter herbs because freedom does not begin sweetly always. Salt water because tears do not stop just because you leave, because you move on. And a child, or what's supposed to be a child, asking the question that opens the whole night. Why is this night different from other nights? One of the oldest questions in the world, asked, of course, by someone who is already definitely wondering when they can have some chocolate-covered matzah. I love that about the tradition, the ritual of celebrating Passover, the Passover Seder. I love that the story is driven by those questions, not with triumph, but with dinner, with sharing food, with a family in the room, with friends in the room, with adults trying to hold it together while history starts moving faster than they want it to. And maybe this year, more than most years, a lot of adults in a lot of rooms celebrating that ritual have been sitting with, and many others have been sitting with a version of that question. Why does this moment feel so different? What is different? Why does an old story about an empire and fear and people trying to hold a meal together despite it all, while everything shifts, feel less like history and more like a mirror, like a reflection of our own time? The answer that the Seder gives in reply is simple, because tonight, finally, we are leaving, we are moving, we are making the crossing. Not because it is safe, of course not, but because staying with the way that things are has become impossible. The bread was flat because there wasn't time to let it rise, because they had to go, because somebody packed it anyway and remembered to bring it. Someone thought to bring enough food for everyone on the road. Did the sea, as the story says, literally split down the middle, making escape impossible? I don't know. Maybe the tides dropped too low, so that the reeds in the mud gave them a narrow way through. Maybe the old storytellers did what old storytellers do and told the truth in a way that we might just remember, even if they stretch some of the details a little bit. But what I do know is this, that there is a truth embedded in there. The people went. They went. They went in. And the old text says that a mixed multitude of people went with them. Lots of different people, not just the Israelites, not just one people, but neighbors to other people who are ground down under the same oppressive system. People who looked around and said, if we cross, all of us, we cross together. And those old stories aren't the only times when this has happened. In October of 1943 in Denmark, the Nazis ordered the deportation of Danish Jews. And within 48 hours of that order, ordinary people, ordinary Danes, got their neighbors into fishing boats and rowed them across dark waters to Sweden. Fishermen and teachers. These were people who lived next door to them. No official title. They didn't have a polished, perfect plan for how to make this happen. Just get in my boat, and I will take you. We will cross together. Same story. Different time, different water. Same story. Come with me. there's room in my boat. We'll make it across together. We're going to sing our opening hymn now at this point. To remind ourselves that peace doesn't come before the crossing. It comes with the people beside you who you cross with. I'm going to invite you, if you want to grab a hymnal, if you're facing a way that you can't see the screen today, if you want a hymnal, they're around the sides, and we'll help each other get them. And we'll have... The screen will be on. It's on. It's actually on, you just can't see the words yet. Thanks. So let's make sure anybody who wants a hymnal gets a hymnal. And we'll sing Peace, I've Got Peace Like a River. On the beach with my daughter, her wanting to cross, being very impatient wanting to cross, wanting to get us across to where we need to go. And me seeing the current. Me seeing the other side too, though, that's the thing. I wasn't just aware of the current, I was aware of the other side. And I don't mean to present these two things as an argument of like who wins the argument about whether or not it's safe to go across. This is in fact not a problem, I think. That we have two differences of opinion or two ways of seeing something, and that is what is so powerful about being in community. That's exactly the group of people that you need for a crossing. You need the ones who can see the danger clearly. And you need the ones who can help us to see and to remember what is on the other side so clearly that it makes us realize that we must refuse to let the danger be the only truth that we see. So before we go any further, I just want to put a question in the room. What would you cross cold water to reach? That's the question of the day. If anyone feels moved to say it out loud, you're welcome to. Family, children. I heard something in the back, or far away there. Your cats and what? Matriarch. Safety. Yeah. Democracy and peace. Very curious. Okay, cool. Cross to the other side to see what's there. Now here's what I want you to do. Does everybody have an egg at this point, or do we still need them? Okay. Everyone who wants an egg, let's make sure they get them. Okay. But the egg holding our visions of what could be born. I want you to open it up and see what's inside. Yeah. So you have blank puzzle pieces on those eggs. And what we're going to do during the service today is at any point from here on out, you're invited to draw on that puzzle piece. A vision of something that you would cross that cold current for. And I'll be saying more about it. What you want to bring forward for our world, what you want for our world, for your life. It's the things that matter to you, that you would make that leap, that crossing for other people, for yourself, and for the world. You have some time before we're going to do something with it, but take the time, however you want to now, to put something on there. It could be a drawing, it could be a word, it could be a symbol. And we will be assembling them at a little later. So what we're drawing on it is not the current, not the danger that exists between here and there, but the other side. What we're hoping for, what we want to exist. And there's no wrong answers. We're not being asked either to create the whole picture this morning. No singular one of us. We're just asking ourselves to bring our small piece of it. We'll come back to it together towards the end of the service.
By Janice Steinberg is about a special Seder bowl handed down through generations and what happens when it finally breaks. The Rosenthal china, my mother would say with reverence, about the dishes you reserve for holidays. Why is this night different from other nights? On this night we eat from Grandma's Rosenthal, the plates bordered with pink roses and gold filigree, graceful bowls where your matzah balls delicately float with parsley and slivers of carrot and gleaming broth, used schmaltz. Formal china for the formal, delicious, joyous meal. Grandma Dora, your brisket was so tender. Half a century later, I can still savor it on my tongue. And your pride in the food, the beautifully set table, I felt that. Yet whatever pain you carried came to the table too. And the weight of doing this ritual because we were bound to, not out of celebration or cherished memories, surely not as a link to the God of our superstitious ancestors. Your legacy to me, Dora, along with a third of the Rosenthal, most of it long broken. On a high shelf, I find what remains. 4 saucers for teacups that were too delicate to survive. One last scalloped-edged soup bowl. I reach, set it on the counter. The bowl cracks cleanly, a sea parting to freedom.
You just heard about a bowl cracking. A sea parting to freedom, the poem says. But then, people still need feeding. So the holiday, the observance goes on. People carry it forward. The Seder gave us those questions that we took this week here. It also asked us that question of what we are crossing towards. And today is also Easter. And it's the morning, so Easter is going to give us our breakfast this morning, so to speak. A favorite story of mine from the Christian tradition around the story of Easter is not really about to me, the most interesting story is not about the myth of Jesus coming alive after going in the tomb. It's something simpler. It's about a breakfast being prepared for a group of people. And this is not a breakfast of spectacle. It's something that happens on a beach. So in the story, after the teacher is killed, the people who love him do what grieving people do. They scatter because they are afraid. They go back to what they know, because this person they had followed, that they had hope in, was gone. And so they go back to what they know in their daily lives. They are fisher people. And so they fish one night, all night, and catch nothing. Now this might sound like not a big deal, but they were not fishing for sport. They were fishing for their livelihoods. This is how they fed their families. And so to return home with nothing meant that they would not eat. But in the story, when they're returning back into the port, there's a fire on the shore. And there's bread and there's fish, and there's enough for everyone. Now maybe the story wants people to believe when they read it that it was Jesus himself. Or maybe it means that someone loved someone enough to keep practicing what he taught. They loved that message enough to keep practicing what he taught. But that either way, somebody taught them to bring enough. And I think, honestly, what we need at a morning like this, at a time like this, is more of this kind of a breakfast theology than a magic theology of something that will save us. The message that was killed was powerful enough to be killed by the empire. The empire did in the story what empires do. But what empire could not do by killing one person was to bury a way of being human that is much older than anyone and much bigger than any one person. To bury a way of being human that teaches us all to practice being together, feeding people, welcoming the people that nobody else wants, telling the truth about the rules, that they are unfair, and reminding us to keep making room at the table over and over again. In the story of Jesus that says that he was killed and came back, Rome killed the messenger. But the message itself kept making breakfast. That is an Easter that I can work with as a UU. Not a magic trick, but the stubborn refusal of love to stop feeding people. And this morning, Someone thought to bring enough again by bringing these eggs, by sharing these eggs. And you, in a few minutes, will bring your visions together for each other so that you can see them. Enough eggs, enough pieces for each other, enough for a whole room full of hope. One of the most important lessons, too, I believe, that comes from the Seder, the practice of the ritual of the Seder, is seeing oneself in every generation of going through this same process of liberation, of crossing to the other side. Many of us might have grown up with a particular story about the country, about the culture that we live in, that said that the crossings were behind us, that the fascists were history, that the institutions would hold and keep things safe, that the really dangerous, hard moments belonged to other people in other times. We might have used the phrase over and over again of never again, and really meant it. and really hoped and felt and thought that meaning it would be enough. But sometimes we realize in the course of history that it isn't always enough to just say it. And now here we are looking at 40 feet of cold water rushing through sometimes. As a child, you might look at that water and think, obviously we can cross. Obviously it is possible to get back to the best of our human nature. What are we waiting for? At 41, you might look at that same water and think, urgent care copay, which is also honestly a fair description of what is at stake for our civic and moral moment too. Both of those perspectives of urgent care copay versus possibilities are telling the truth. You need the people, we need the people who can see the current clearly and see the danger and see what we need to plan for the crossing. And we need those who can see the other side so clearly too. We need the child and the grown-up in all of us, and that's not to say that you can't be both of those things no matter what age you are, and everything in between. That is not the problem. Seeing or not seeing, that is exactly the right group of people to make the crossing together. Because nobody signs up to make the crossing in any one particular generation or lifetime. Nobody asks for this exactly. You sign up for a different crossing, your own life, an easier one that fits the story that you were told about what life would require of you. But then you look up one day and you realize, here we are. The people at the first Passover tables didn't sign up for it either. The people making the journey towards freedom, towards the crossing, did not sign up for it either. The people in those fishing boats didn't sign up for the dangers that it would take to spread the message of love that they would carry that could not be killed. The people cooking breakfast to feed other people on the shore after everything fell apart didn't sign up for what they would do next either. Nobody does. And yet somebody always thinks to bring enough food for the journey, for others, for each other. Enough bread for the road, even if it's imperfect and didn't have time to rise. Enough room in the boat made to bring people to safety. Enough breakfast for the morning after a hard loss. Enough puzzle pieces to assemble a vision for a room full of people trying to remember what hope looks like. The sea doesn't magically part for any of us before we get to cross. We just have to wade in on a daily basis and test its waters and see and keep sharing our stories with each other. And somehow, underneath the fear and the practical objections and the very real knowledge of the copays and how cold the water is, I think most of us already know. We're going, whether we choose to or not, whether we want to or not. We cannot stop the journey. We are absolutely, definitely going to where we need to go with each other. Not foolishly, maybe not today in exactly the way that the hopers and the dreamers amongst us would prefer. But we are not staying where we are because we can't. We cannot. That was never the truth. We are not staying the way things are forever. Look at this room. Look at yourselves in your own lives. Every place that has brought you to here today, to be in this room with these people at this moment in this time, to make this community that cannot exist in any other way. We are here because of everything that has come before, and now we must ask each other what we will do next and how we will use what we have learned together to do what must be done. Before we build what we're about to build, metaphorically and literally, there's one thing that's worth knowing, and it's the reason that each of you have a puzzle piece. There's an old idea in the Jewish tradition that I've talked about before and that many of you probably have heard before. It's called tikkun olam. It's repair of the world. And the lesson behind that says this, that before the very beginning of time, before creation was created, it was created by the cracking forth of a vessel that could not contain light, the sacred light that created the universe. And that when light was poured into the vessels of existence, it could not hold it, so they cracked open and they shattered and they scattered those pieces of light everywhere, across time and across distance. And you might think of it as the same stuff of stars that made us, that scattered about, that is now you. Those pieces scattered across everything, across every person who has ever lived in every corner of the world, in the worst places and in the most beautiful places. And the human task every day, from the first moment of consciousness, has been for us to go out and find those pieces and remind each other what light looks like. Not alone, never alone, but together. So, when you bring your puzzle piece, when it's ready, you're not bringing a complete picture of hope for the world. It is your one small piece of light that you have found in this moment of time. Nobody in this room has the whole picture. That's the point. So in a moment, you're going to be invited to get up and to bring whatever you drew on your puzzle piece. We have a table in the middle, and the cool thing about these puzzle pieces is their universal fit. So you can put it wherever you want to. Wherever you want to. And I want to take a picture of it when it's done, but you can also take your puzzle piece with you, so you can have that reminder. And you can find where else in the world you can attach it to. So if you're able to move and come up to the front, please do. If you need some help, you can always raise your hand a little bit and we'll find someone to help bring it up, because not as a favor, that is part of the repair. And when your piece gets to the table, you place it wherever you feel like it wants to go. Take your time. There's no wrong neighbor puzzle piece. If you can. That would be so helpful. I keep trying. I'm not sure if it's just broken or not. Thank you.
I'd like to actually talk with you for more than 5 minutes. It's like all these things, all these little that shouldn't happen. Here we go. I'm sorry that we don't have things. These technical things.
Yeah. I'm gonna go take a look and see if I can find that.
Good.
Yeah.
Is that the right height?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So.
Yeah, yeah. Can't believe you found it. Yeah.
I get a chance to say this. Thank you so much for this layout. It's making people uncomfortable and they have to interact with each other. And I love it. I used to do it during summer worship when I was in charge of worship. And it just makes my heart sing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Keep making us uncomfortable.
I'm gonna go take a look. I'm gonna take a look at it, yeah. I planned on this part taking a while. I thought we had Doretha.
We did.
Is she here?
She's
Oh, okay. Oh, I see her. She's here. Yeah, she's in there. You can keep on adjusting our vision because it will not be finished today, I promise. We've carried together to the center of the room our pieces of hope for today that we're carrying for the crossing, what we are bringing to help us across. And now we take a moment too together, because we're here, to name what we've carried, what else we've carried into this space. So this is the time for us to bring forward our joys, sorrows, our complex truths that we need to name in community. If you haven't done this before with us, you should have gotten an index card when you came in. And on it, if you're carrying something that you need to have named aloud in community, you're invited to write it on the index card. And I'll read it aloud so we know that as we go across to where we're going, we have hope with us and we have other people too. So if you've written something down, you can bring it forward now and we'll receive it. And we have our pastoral care associate here too to help receive those, and I will read them aloud. And you're also invited to light a candle too, for everything else you carry, not just the hope. Anyone can come up and light a candle, even without a card. Carrying so much of the stuff of life today into community, where we know that the burdens that we carry do not have to be carried alone, and the joys that we carry can be shared for all to celebrate with us. This card here that says, hoping for a world where the strong protect and care for the vulnerable. We hold today Brian and Debbie Cohen, who many of you might know, their daughter Okay, there we go. Their daughter Amanda lost her husband this weekend, her husband Justin, who died very suddenly. So they ask for us to hold them. Many from this community are with them right now, and they ask us to hold them right now and reach out to them if you would like to. In time, maybe give them a little space for the moment. This card here that asks for internal stillness and ease. Someone asking for positive thoughts for a family member who is having surgery this week. We also remember everything that we bring to community that we share that is good and joyful. Happy 16th birthday to Isla. We're grateful for spending the holidays with our beloved community, says this card. Especially grateful for me, it looks like, for Reverend Israel. And his inspiration to remain hopeful and peaceful in these difficult times. You're welcome. And here, joy from Lise and Steve Burby, who are thrilled to announce that their youngest daughter, Laura, who grew up in the fellowship, married Matt Rappa on March 28th at the Old Barn. And they'll be settling in East Northport, which makes Mom and Dad very happy. For the grief that has a place to land in a room of people to carry it forward with love, we make space here today. For the joy that came in anyway and reminded us of life, we give thanks. For the pieces of hope, the small pieces of hope that we are reminding each other of this morning, we give thanks. And for everyone, each and every one of you who have crossed to something today, to be here, to get here this morning, to wake up, to get out of bed, to get dressed, and to have the courage to meet other people in a room and see them. We're glad you came. We're glad we are here to share what we have learned, to remind each other that we do not have to carry any of this alone, to remind each other that life is shared, and it is made so much more beautiful because of that. So let us sing together for that amazing gift that is not so easy to hold on some days and easier to carry on others. We'll sing Spirit of Life, number 123, together.
We'll receive this morning's offering now. If you can give today, thank you. If today isn't that day, then just let the basket pass. You're welcome here either way. Half of what you give stays here at the fellowship to support the work of this congregation. The other half this month goes to Book Fairies, a Long Island nonprofit that collects and redistributes books to children and families who need them. Since 2012, they've delivered more than 6 million books. Books are how children cross into other worlds, other possibilities, other versions of what their lives can be. You can give in the basket, which will shortly be passed around, or electronically through Realm. scan the QR code on the screen to text UUFH to 73256 or use the Realm app. The default fund is Sunday Split Plate, but you can adjust it by using the drop-down menu to make a pledge payment or give solely to the charity of the month. The ushers will be passing in the basket shortly, but I wanted to announce that those of you who are 8 and under are invited to an egg hunt in the social hall now, and any older kids who want to assist are also welcome to join them. So just go through those doors, and happy egg hunting.
So before you leave here today, whether or not you crafted a puzzle piece or added one to our display here, I want to invite all of you to try to take a moment just to go by the table to see what we have made, to see what vision for our world we have created today. And if you want to take your piece with you, as a reminder that our job here is not done once we assemble this one particular piece today, that we have to take out those visions, that commitment of meeting the world with love despite everything going on. And we need to take it out and to share it and to find where it belongs and to find whose piece it connects to in our lives and to keep building. So before you go, look at what we made today. No one of us brought the whole picture, but yet still here it is, being constructed in this moment. This is what crossing looks like before the history books notice what it is. Not the sea parting, not trumpets or stones being rolled away, by people bringing what they have. People making room for other people's pieces that are different than their own. People not waiting for certainty to begin the crossing. Some people packing enough to feed each other on the way. This particular mosaic will never exist again. These pieces, these people, you, this morning. None of us planned exactly what it would look like ahead of time. But here we are, where every piece fits. And yes, the world outside those doors will be the same world in many ways as when you walked in. The current is still real. The water is still cold. But it's warming up. And maybe tomorrow it'll be colder or warmer. And the caution signs will still be there. But we cross anyway. And we bring enough with us for each other. Someone always will. So be that someone for someone else. Take that with you and let it lead us all together to the other side.